Hey there, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. It's time to have a look and see just what is going on when it comes to the month of January 2022 for you and your astrology. Now, just a quick heads up, if you happen to be watching this prior to the 15th of December 2021, you may want to check out my special 2-hour webinar I will be hosting on that day at 5 p.m. Pacific, US and Canada, all about the major astrological and energetic shifts of 2022. And you can do that by signing up at my website, integrativemysticism.com, or following the links in the down bar below. If you can't make it, or you are past the 15th already when you're watching this video, I do have replays already available for those who sign up, and replays available for purchase for folks who want to see it after the fact. So again, my website, integrativemysticism.com, same place you go to get a session with me. So what's going on when it comes to your month of January? Well, quick reminder, we are still in Venus retrograde season in January. In fact, Venus is retrograde all the way through the 29th. And I know we covered it in the December monthlies, and we also covered it in a special video all by itself, but I want it here just in case people need some reminders and for new folks. Now, Venus is retrograde in Capricorn, your second house of earned income, employment, your values, and your valuables. And Venus retrograde, in a nutshell, is all about putting pressures on the cracks that are already there, that make a certain maybe economic, financial, or professional arrangement or value situation that you're dealing with, or value system that you have, in need of a bit of an overhaul. Now, this could be going on at the office. This could be going on with a certain financial plan or a certain matter with your own personal finances that you are getting a chance to be front and center for confronting and clearing and creating sustainable solutions for. However, what happens with Venus retrograde is that there can also be some challenges that come up because, well, Venus retrograde can also bring up a lot of volatility, insecurity, escapism, and instability as well. And so you may be dealing with a lack of cooperation or even resistance when it comes to other people involved, other people handling financial matters with you, colleagues, bosses, clients, and customers. And it's really important that you remember that Venus is putting pressure on problems that already exist so that they can be amplified, revealed, and released. And the best thing that we can do is focus on solving them, not burying them deeper. When it comes to the first half of the month, we do have the sun in this area of your chart as well, really taking the edge off of that Venus retrograde experience. Okay, so it's not as bad as it could be. The sun is bringing attention, enhancement, and support here. And so while we are confronting all of these issues, we are actually still making a fair amount of money. We're actually getting quite comfortable with that enhancement and support that the sun is bringing here. You're going to be noticing that whether it's in your market or your own skills or your own department, you are becoming a much more valuable asset to your industry and being treated as such, or at least rewarded as such. In fact, you're going to be feeling like a bit of a hot commodity, even though there's a lot of drama around you when it comes to your professional life and your finances this month. With the sun here, you are not only getting a chance to start maybe raising your rates or setting new precedents for how you are compensated and taken care of, at least in a material sense, but it's allowing you to reorient yourself towards a new level of comfort and quality of life in your life outside of the office. We also have Mercury in Aquarius the first half of this month, direct. Mercury will actually be direct for the first half of the month. Yeah, he's going retrograde later. We will get there when we get there. Don't rush me. Mercury in the third house of communications and, pacts, promises, commitments, contracts, as well as your peer group, is giving you the opportunity to speed up things that ultimately have been just sort of hanging in the air in this part of your life, whether they have to do with contracts or promises made in the past, that are not actually progressing towards any kind of fruition, or if you are trying to speed up developments with maybe a way you are marketing yourself, you are putting yourself out there. Perhaps you are actually working on speeding up the fruition, the payoff, and payout of a major commitment that you are invested in or you have been engaged in, either socially or professionally or even in a creative pursuit that you have. With Mercury in the third house, not only are we speeding this up, but we are also allowing for a lot of you Sagittarian people to make a brand new name for yourself during this time. And so anything that you're putting out there in the first half of the month is also going to be very important for you to make sure that you know what you're putting out there, because you're essentially getting a lot of wishes for how you wish to be seen and treated granted by your peer group and your entire community. We also have Mars in Sagittarius throughout the first half of this month. This is you. This is your first house, right? This is your personal journey. This is your expression. This is your identity. This is how you put yourself out there and how you're received. Another big focus going on here. Now with Mars in the first house, or any planet in the first house, right, we are seeing this big focus on a wild card blessing, something that you can do or something that you can utilize to in whatever area of your life you want. We have that power of Mars, the action, driving force, energy, passion, and obstacle clearing focus that you can actually apply to really make some serious progress and whip a lot of different areas of your life into shape now. Now with Mars in the first house, really pay attention. Where are some obstacles I would like to clear? What would I like to energize? What would I like to actually develop into a much more ambitious and productive force in my life? Am I trying to spice things up, heat things up? If you're looking to clear obstacles in your professional life, well, we're already kind of looking at where we need to put our focus with these other aspects. This is a great asset to you. If you would like to bring more adventure, more passion, experimentation, and eroticism into your personal life, Mars is fantastic for that as well in the first half of the month. If we are looking to actually do some serious overhaul and renovation work on maybe an aspect of our social life, our education, our spiritual path or practice, or our home, you have all of this backing you in the first half of this month. So make sure you allow yourself to put it to good use. We also have a new moon on the 2nd of January, which falls in Capricorn, that second house of earned income, employment, as well as your values and your valuables. And this opens up a 2-week window between the 2nd and the 17th of the month for you to initiate a new beginning, plant a new seed, start a new cycle. That's what new moons are all about. Now, for a lot of you Sagittarian people, this could be a big break on the job front. Some of you may actually be finding that you are getting a chance to start in a completely new role, whether this is something that you are finding out as an opening or an opportunity or a proposal made by somebody you already work with or you're already connected to. This could also be something, yes, that does show up on the external, right? Maybe you find yourself getting headhunted or recruited in some way. Some of you may also find that while it may not have to do with employment, a new moon in the second house could indicate a new financial commitment being put on the table for you that could become a source of revenue that you will have to maintain. You will be kind of taking it on like another employment situation. It's more substantial than a side hustle, and it's certainly something that should have some attention from you. When it comes to the second half of the month, you do have the sun recently moved into Aquarius. And this will be your third house as well, right? We just spoke about that with Mercury. The sun in your third house, bringing that attention, enhancement, and support, is drawing a lot more awareness to you and what you have going on. And you are starting to actually attract stronger, more highly capable peers, collaborators, teammates, and associates into your life, so that you are able to actually start to work in much more substantial and high caliber spaces, on much more substantial and high caliber projects, and also see even your own personal aspirations or even the things that you thought you would want to keep small get a chance to expand and become all the more influential and all the more ambitious, depending on how far you want that to go. Because with the sun in the third house, we are also seeing where new commitments, new contracts are being put on the table. We might want to take our time with evaluating this. We'd let them come in the second half, of January, but maybe not make up our minds until we get to the first half of February. And the reason I say that is because we've got a Mercury retrograde I'm going to be talking about here in just a sec. However, before I do also want to mention that Mars will also be moving in the second half of the month. Mars will be leaving your sign and going into Capricorn, which is your second house. Again, earned income, employment, your values, and your valuables. And whenever Mars goes into an area of money, an area of employment, any kind of labor-oriented part of our chart or financial-oriented part of our chart, particularly houses 2, 6, or 10, in your case 2, we see an opportunity to really get ahead with our earning power. Because Mars always brings overtime and a lot of opportunities that are going to require you to burn some midnight oil if you are going to make a big jump in your financial situation or in your career. With Mars in the second house, you are going to be finding that the second half of this month and going well into February, you're going to be front and center for a lot of really good competitive opportunities to get a big financial head start on the year of 2022. Just make sure that you understand when Mars is in our second house, however, sometimes there can be a tendency for us to have our work-life balance run a little askew. So you're going to want to make sure that you are giving yourself an opportunity to balance and rest and not just burn the candle at both ends the last fortnight of January. That would not necessarily be a good use of your time. Now, going back to what I said about Mercury retrograde. Yes, Mercury is retrograde the second half of the month. And it's a very bizarre Mercury retrograde because from the 14th through the 25th, Mercury is retrograde in Aquarius, that third house of communications, pacts, promises, and commitments. And then from the 25th through the very beginning of February, we have Mercury retrograde in Capricorn, your second house of earned income, employment, your values, and your valuables. So we've got a lot of extra stuff to talk about here. With Mercury retrograde in the third house between the 14th and the 25th, this is going to be a time where you are going to want to be extra careful when it comes to how you are agreeing to take on new contracts, because you may find that there are some revisions, rearrangements, and revisits that you need to make with existing contracts or existing promises or existing commitments that you're already connected to. This can be actually a really liberating time for a lot of you Sagittarian people, because if there are things that are still holding or floating over your head, or maybe you are still tied up in some kind of promise or agreement or arrangement, a lease or something like that, Mercury retrograde in your third house is giving you a chance to either renegotiate or cut yourself loose, or maybe even redefine the parameters of a lot of contracts or commitments that you are involved in so that you can make room for other opportunities or expand on them however you want to do that. And so before we decide we're going to just go all in with what we talked about with the sun in Aquarius, it's going to be important for us to take the 14th through the 25th to really get the rest of our, let's just say, our commitments in shape, whip things into proper order before we stack more on top. You may also find with Mercury retrograde in the third house old opportunities from your past when it comes to collaborations, team opportunities, or business alliances may also be put back on the table. And so we want to leave some room to give them their fair chance at showing you their stuff. As we get on to Mercury retrograding into Capricorn, going all the way back into the second house of earned income and employment, this is going to be a time where a lot of you are going to get a chance to even get a taste of an old opportunity or even revisit old opportunities, either professionally or financially. This could be very confusing between the 25th of this month and again, week 1 of February, because you're not necessarily going to know whether or not you want to revive something from the past or keep going with all this new stuff that's happening here. Again, take your time, one step at a time. But with Mercury retrograde, we could be seeing old opportunities open up to us that have not been available for some time. Things that we may have felt passed over for, things that we may have missed out on, things that we didn't have the availability to go commit ourselves to. And you're also going to find that even old financial opportunities or old money may be finding its way back to you at the end of the month as well. Finally, we have a full moon in Cancer, which is your 8th house of shared resources, passive income, as well as intimacy. And this is going to also affect those of you who are thinking about those self-employment money, self-generated income, anything outside of your baseline salary or hourly income situation. With a full moon in Cancer, this can actually be a very stimulating aspect when it comes to bedroom antics and the erotic and the sensual. And from the 17th of this month through the very beginning of February could be a very hot time for you Sagittarians. And I'm not even going to mince words. You know where I'm going with this. The thing about this full moon is that we are bringing culminations and transitions and really raising the energy to a peak in order to be able to break ourselves out of our shells. Now, this is also a very strong time for the elimination of any kind of debts or limitations that have been imposed on your available income or your available financial resources. So you're getting let out of your shell, you're getting freed up in a lot of different respects this month. So that's what I've got for you, Sagittarius. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe because y'all know I appreciate it. And should you ever wish to get a session with me, go on ahead to my website. It's integrativemysticism.com.